boys? Good to see you again. Good morning. It's not that early, but it could be early for some of y'all that like to sleep in. Actually went to New Orleans this weekend. Took the lady there for her birthday, so that was fun. If y'all have never been, definitely go. Bourbon Street is unlike any other place I've ever been to. And I've been to a few other places. Bourbon Street is absolutely, it's nuts. It's crazy. So if you've never been, go there. That was a blast. I posted a lot on Instagram. If you don't follow me there, check me out. I'll put a link in the description, but here it is right there. But I wanted to have kind of an old school talk with you guys like we used to do a little car chat session, because there's a few topics I want to talk to y'all about. And man, I think for this one, I'm going to go with the topic of this. Well, what I'm curious about, I was recently looking at R8s, and we're going to do a whole other video on R8 pricing and what their pricing is like now, because they're a phenomenal deal. I'm seeing V10 manuals for under 90 grand, which that is a ton of money. Don't get me wrong, that is a ton of money, but relative to what it used to cost, I mean, the depreciation is not even that bad, but it's just getting 2010 R8 V10 for sub 90 grand is a really good deal. I mean, you can get a 2004 Lamborghini Gallardo, which basically has the same motor for that much, but that's, 6 years older. Oh, come on, bro. Really? You're going to try and do that to all of us? Anyway, so that pricing kind of had me a little shocked, because that's a great deal. So what I wanted to talk to y'all about today, or what I wanted to ask you guys is, would you guys rather have an old school, and when I say old school, I don't mean like 1985 Ferrari or 19 whatever, old school Porsche. I mean, would you rather have an older supercar, and I'll tell you why I say supercar in a second, that is like a 2004, 2006, 2008, 2010, whatever. We can bring Gallardos into this, we can bring F430s, we can bring R8s into this, which we'll probably stick to for this video. I'd rather have that old school supercar or a modern sports car. And when I say modern sports car, I mean, if you look at the price of like a new C63 AMG, that car now, I swear that C-Class, that C63 used to start at like 50s or 60s. Now I may be off, because I wasn't always into those. I was only into those basically when they came out with the coupe. I wasn't into them with the old school four-door. But like the 2012, I think, coupe, I wanted to say you could get that for like 60 or something like that. But now the new C63 AMG is going to start at like 80s. And if you get the S, I mean, you're starting in the 90s. I mean, look at the M3 CS. That is what I would still classify as a sports car, and that's in the one teens. I think it's 114, 113 grand. Now, here's where the debate gets interesting, because you talk about those two sports cars and you compare them to the stats of the old school or older supercars, and I would guarantee you that the newer sports cars, good job, you got them in front of 4 people. The newer sports cars, I would bet, are probably going to have better performance stats than the older supercars, which is kind of where it gets interesting, because my supercharged R8 that I had, it was a V8 R8 manual, and I, like I've told you guys a million times, prefer the manual. But if you look at like 0 to 60 that Stasis, who made the supercharger, puts out on the specs for that, I believe 0 to 60 for the V8 with their supercharger was at like, if you can shift good enough, I believe it was at like 3.8 or something like that. I mean, if you look at a new M3, I don't know it off the top of my head, but I would guarantee you that it is, I would put money that it's sub 4s. And if it's not, then all you really need is like a $2,000 tune to get it there. but I know the C63 is fast. I mean, shoot, I have a Tesla right behind me. I know that's a different category, but it's funny to me to see that these prices are really starting to match up now. And what a lot of people get scared of is the maintenance. And I've talked to a lot of people about this. For the old school supercars, and again, I'll speak mostly to the R8. My brother does have a Gallardo. He doesn't drive it much, but has had no problems with it whatsoever. The gentleman before him has had no problems whatsoever. But for me, for example, with my R8, I really never had any issues with it. I know a lot of guys get scared about it, and I did a video on this, and in my opinion, if you buy an R8, have at least $5,000 cash that you can afford to spend on that car for a random issue. Consider that your insurance for the R8. So if maintenance is your thing and fixes are your thing that you're worried about with a supercar, I can understand that. But if you don't have to worry about that and they end up being more reliable than you think, then you get on to practicality. You still get the performance with a new sports car, but the practicality is much better. Obviously, with an M3, you can get 4 doors and still have 600 horsepower in a DCT transmission, possibly under warranty. That is going to go 0 to 60 in, I'll call it 4 seconds because I don't know for sure, but it's still going to be right up there with the old school supercars that we talk about. And like my brother's Gallardo, for example, that's an 04, that's a manual. But if you were to have the single disc flappy paddle gearbox, I mean, that I got to imagine that's similar to my Mercedes transmission that I had in the Black Series. They are going to shift faster than a manual transmission, but I mean, I don't think the performance is that much better in those older transmissions. Now, the Black Series that I had, I even did Weisstech's transmission tune on it, and it still didn't help that much in terms of shift speed. It's not anything you're gonna install a tune on your transmission and it's going to turn it into a DCT, a dual clutch. Whenever you buy a single disc automatic transmission, that is what it is. You can't tune it to a dual clutch. You can't have the shift speed or smoothness or even just the quality of that DCT. That's my opinion. I'm not an expert on this at all, so I could be way off basis. I'm just telling you my experience with trying to tune a single disc clutch. But there's something about the older supercars, especially the manual transmission. My old V10 R8s, my V10 R8 I had and my V8 R8 were both manual transmissions, and they just have a different feel to them than the modern sports cars, than the C63s, the M3s. They just feel much different. They're a smaller car. They feel more nimble. They feel amazing. But my question to you is, would you rather spend 80 to 90 grand on an older supercar that may be a little dated, but you're still getting what was at the time considered a supercar, or would you rather spend that on a new car, a new M3, a new C63? I mean, I don't think we can bring a Dodge Demon into this because I think those will blow the doors off everything, and those are like super sports cars, and they're not for everyone. A lot of people don't like those. So, but what would your opinion be on that? Because I am curious to see when I see guys drop 115 grand on an M3 CS, which I would love to do. That car's an amazing car. But I want to ask, what made you decide to do that over spending 100? I mean, you could maybe get an S-Tronic R8 for that price, which is a fantastic transmission. So I'm curious to hear what your guys' opinion is on this. And if you're new to the channel, this isn't the regular type of video. I do these sometimes, but I'm gonna try and vary up the content a little bit, like I've told y'all in the past. I'm gonna try and add a variety of things. But I do have more M3 content coming your way. I have more track videos coming your way, and more install videos. So if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And smash the like button and drop a comment, because I really want to hear what you guys have to say about that. I'm going to go brutalize myself in the gym and try and burn off all that New Orleans food and booze. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.